Apologies for doing another video so soon after another and using all your data and time and etc, but I feel it's important to try and describe a few things, questions and stuff that have been asked about
mashoko a Bret Muvet uyo ari kukurumbira mazuvano, ari kurira chaizvo nekuda kwenhau yake yaari kutaura kuti ari kuda kurwisa kuti pange paine hurumende ichazenge ichitonga nyika yeZimbabwe, asi hurumende iyi inenge iri in exile, hurumende yaari kushevedza pasi peboka rinonzi varanda veZimbabwe. Ndo mashoko panapa tauya naye munzwe kutsanangura kwake, sezvo vamwe vambenge vaine mubvunzo wekuti zvinenge zvakamira sei, hurumende iyi inenge yakamboita sei. Saka pano Bret Muvet ari kunyatsotseketudza kudonongodza zviripo maererano nehurumende iyi.
Varanda veZimbabwe mamuka sei zvenyu? Apologies for doing another video so soon after another and using all your data and time and etc, but I feel it's important to try and describe a few things, questions and stuff that have been asked about the government in exile, about donations, etc. So I think I need to address those. First, I just want everyone, one very important thing. I don't have to do what I am doing. I have constantly tried to highlight or try to make it known that although I cannot afford to fly to Cape Town every 2-3 months for a holiday, I haven't been out of Africa my entire life, I cannot afford a plane ticket to the UK, I can't afford to drive a Toyota Land Cruiser, I don't live in a house with more than 3 bedrooms. As much as all of that is true about me, my life is actually very comfortable. And ndoda kuti munhu wese azive kuti upenyu hwangu utori bo. Hapana chinhu chandinomuka ndichiti chinhu ichi ndashaya kana kuti chinhu ichi ndiri kuchida but handikwanise kuchitora. Hakuna chakadaro. Zvinhu zvangu zvakatondikwanira 100%. I have an average vehicle which I'm happy for. I've built a small 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house that I don't owe anything on. I'm happy with that. I cannot have a house with 10 bedrooms. It's going to take too long to vacuum and mop. I do my own vacuuming. I do my own mopping between myself and my wife. We clean our own house. So I do not have any ambition to own mansions. If anything, I'd like a bigger workshop. So that entails 4 walls and a roof. And I will extend my workshop because I've got a lot of tools and a lot of pieces of wood and shit that I've collected over the years that I need space for. So that's the only thing I would ever want. If you gifted me a GD6, I would sell it the next day. Imba in my bedroom 7, my bathroom 14. I do not, if you gave me that house, if you gave it to me, I would sell it the next day. So I just want to make it absolutely clear that I am not doing this because I want to now extend my lifestyle or now start going on holiday or now start driving nice cars. That is not what I am into. If I was into those things, trust me, I wouldn't be doing this activism. I would have joined ZANU-PF and I would have benefited from inside of ZANU-PF. I would have been able to get into the system by now and I would be able to be eating like everybody else is eating. Those things do not appeal to me. As long as I am comfortable, if I have electricity and water, food to eat, a car to drive, a small business to run, a nice house to come home to, I am okay. I do not need anything else other than those things. That is why I am incorruptible. People have tried to give me a bucky load of cigarettes, some diamonds. Let's get involved in gold. Let's get involved in doing other things. I'll do your podcast. I'll give you $2,400 a month and you just do videos that I send. I could have done all of those things. All of those things. But I did not, because that shit doesn't appeal to me. What does appeal to me, what does drive me, is the fact that I can change my country. That's what drives me. That's what makes me interested. A legacy, so that my son knows that his father stood for something. I've probably got more balls in my fucking pinky finger than most Zimbabwean men have in their entire bodies. Most Zimbabwean men have already died. They're just still breathing. That's a fact. Yes, my life's probably going to be short. Yes, they're probably going to take me out. But you know what? I'm not going to die like a fucking little bitch who has to wake up every day and say, yes, sir, no, sir. Please, sir, don't take my farm. Please, sir, don't take my business. Please, sir, can I have some forex? Because that's how the majority of men in Zimbabwe actually function. You have to be the regime's bitch in order to actually do anything. That's what it is. That's the reality. So yes, I am not someone who gives in to money and physical things. That's bullshit. You're going to leave all of that when you die anyway. I want my son to know that his father stood for what is right. And his father stood fighting, standing, not kneeling, not begging. I may be dead soon, but at least I die like a man. So I just want you to understand that the reason for the donations is quite simple. I can continue doing videos for the next 10 years. Not a problem for me. Like I keep saying, my life is fine. I don't need to change anything in my life. I am fighting so that other Zimbabweans can have the life that I have. That's what I want. I want to be able to drive on a road in Zimbabwe knowing that 95% of the people are full. They have eaten breakfast. 95% of people have a good job or ability to uplift themselves from poverty. I want a Zimbabwe where children can go to school, where someone who's sick can go to hospital and get treated. That's the Zimbabwe I want. I want people to have what I have. Simple. That's my motivation. And I want a legacy. I don't know if you've heard of Thomas Sankara. Look up that name. Thomas Sankara. Look what he did in his country. That's what I want to do. That's how I want to be remembered. I'm building a legacy. I don't give a shit about money. Don't give a shit about nice cars. Don't give a shit about yellow-boned women, small houses. Don't give a shit. I'm on a mission. My mission is to fix my country by whatever means possible. So the donations is to speed up the process. The donations is to set up an office and a person who works in the office. The donations is to make sure that we have enough funding so that we can get a government in exile going. The donations is so that we can send some people for training. And training, we need to train in terms of government, in terms of policies. We also need security training, because these people that we are against are going to send people to kill us. We are not afraid to admit that we need to train people for security purposes. They do it. Every single regime does it. Every single government does it. There's even corporates that have their own security department. So why is VVZ scared of admitting that we are going to use some of that funding to send people for security training? That is what is going to happen. These are things that need to be spoken about. So that, I hope, clears up the issue about donating. If you don't want to donate, nobody forces you to do that. If I do not have enough money to set up an office and an office assistant, I will tell everybody that, and I will continue to just do videos on Facebook like everybody else does. And we will leave it at that, and Zimbabwean can continue to suffer. Because as I've said, my life is fine. There's nothing wrong with what I am doing. In fact, activism costs me money. I am poorer because of activism. If I stopped activism today, in the next 2 or 3 years, I could probably have enough to retire. And I wouldn't have to put up with this shit anymore. So So those are the realities of my life. Okay, I am fine. There's nothing that I need from everybody's donations. I just want to speed up the process of getting this government and that regime out. That's all I'm doing here. Right, number 2, infiltration. Look, we are already infiltrated. There's no ways that you are going to stop the government in exile from being infiltrated by CIOs or regime people. There's no ways you're going to stop that. The problem we've had in Zimbabwe politics, and in the opposition in particular, is that we have never had accountability. We have never had a situation where when somebody fails, they are held accountable. We have had a president who lost 4 or 5 elections, and you vote for the same fucking asshole again. In most countries, when somebody loses an election, they resign. They resign and someone else takes over. Not in Zimbabwe. We've had a campaign period where the person who's responsible for finances doesn't have any finances to support the party, and yet he continues to be treasurer. Mabut, if you are a treasurer of a party, you need to make sure we have enough money for t-shirts. You need to make sure we have enough money for all these things that need to be bought. And yet, you have failed. But you are still part of the whole system. You are still voted for at Congress. A president loses, it's fine, no problem. And you are still voted for. So accountability is what is short in Zimbabwean politics. If you fail, you are removed. So the simple thing to counter getting infiltrated is as follows. If I set up a government in exile, let's say, and we have 20 people that are part of that leadership, let's say. Now, out of those 25 are CIOs. There's 5 CIO people in that structure. We give those people responsibilities to grow the structure. You tell them, Bret Chamari, basarako iwewe, ndere make sure kuti pa Facebook panofanirwa kudai. John, basarako, ndere make sure kuti unofanirwa kuenda kunovhizita vanhu 20 wotora masignature 20. Mary, basa renyu ndere kuenda kwakati, munotora zvakati, munoita zvakati. You give everyone a job. You tell them in 2 weeks' time, we'll have another meeting. In 2 weeks, you get back together again and you say, right, what have you done? If you have not accomplished what you have been set out to do, you are removed from your position. Guess what that's called? That's called accountability. And that is how you remove infiltration. Because what will happen is the person who's been sent by the CIO now has a choice. Either they're going to accomplish what you are doing, which is good for the organization, or they are going to fail accomplishing what they are doing for the organization, in which case they will be removed from their position. So this is the issue that Zimbabwean opposition has had for decades. You have consistently voted for and supported assholes. People who have failed so many times that if they took an exam, they'd be like 10 years behind in school. And you vote for the same person. Even now, people that are leading the fight against CAB 3 and whatever, these are politicians that have failed continuously for more than 3 decades. And yet you still support them. So, the government in exile, even if I have to work with 20 CIOs, as long as those 20 CIOs are doing what we need to be done, the organization is growing, so be it. If it needs to be grown by CIOs, let it be grown by CIOs. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, so that's the infiltration part. We are already infiltrated. Understand that. It's how to manage the infiltration. That's what we have to come up with, and we already have a few things in place for that. Lastly, setting up a government in exile is not going to be easy. If it was easy, every Tom, Dick and Harry would have done that by now. Chino chinonzi government in exile chichatishungurudza zvisingaperi. Tichashungurudzwa nevanhu muno muSouth Africa nekuti toda kuvhura chini chocho. Tichatobatwa nemapurisa muno vachitivhunza kuti uri kuitei, mari kuitei, what are you doing? That's what's going to happen. A government in exile, we do not need any permission or recognition. This is a thing for Zimbabweans by Zimbabweans. I will be releasing, there's a 16-page document that I released about 2 weeks ago to certain people that we were having meetings with. As soon as I'm allowed, I'll release that in public. That 16-page document tells us exactly why we have reached the point where we have reached. That tells us exactly why the only thing left in Zimbabwe is the People's Revolution. The political space has been closed down. That is why we are forming a government in exile. We do not need to be voted for. We do not need to go and ask permission or to be recognized. We don't want anyone to recognize us. Leave us alone. You have left Zimbabwe alone for the last 30 years for its citizens to be raped, to be killed, to be abducted, to be arrested. You've left us alone for the last 30 years. So please continue to leave us alone. Because now what has happened is a few Zimbabweans have grown a set of balls, and what they are doing is they are finally doing something for themselves. And I am part of that group. So that is what Zimbabweans are doing now. We have asked for help. We have asked for assistance. We have sent letters. We have written emails. We have asked for people to come and look at the elections. We have asked for people to help us when our comrades were in jail and imprisoned and hit. There are bodies that have disappeared. We have done everything possible diplomatically and politically, and we are now enough. It's not a case of, is there going to be a revolution? It's a case of when and how. That is what we are now discussing. The time for asking permission as Zimbabweans is over. We are tired of people calling us makwerekwere. We are tired. So we are taking matters into our own hands. We do not need your permission. We do not need nothing from you. Nothing. We have begged and asked for 3 decades. So we are doing it ourselves. Zimbabweans will donate $2 each per month. We will get 4 or 5 million Zimbabweans and we will fix our own country. Fuck everybody else. Okay. That is why we are doing a government in exile. Simple, straightforward. And how, lastly. Why do I swear a lot? Because I fucking can. I don't give a shit. This is how I am. This is my clothes. This is what I am. I do not own a suit. I don't own a suit. I am honest. I do deals on a handshake. This is who I am. I swear sometimes. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do. It is what it is. This is who I am. I am honest. I'm straightforward. I'm principled. I have ethics. This is who I am. I have a smart... I can dress up a bit smart, but I don't wear ties. Last time I wore a tie was when I went to church. It was about 20 years ago. So this is who I am. If you don't like it, fuck off. I am who I am. I am not changing. I am not becoming more presidential. I am not going to become more diplomatic. This is how it is. Zimbabwe needs cash talk. Cash talk, Baba. Atidi kunyeberana. Cash talk. Toda kutaura chokwadi sezvazviri. The time of trying to disguise us and disguise our feelings and be diplomatic, that time is over. It's over. Totaura sezvazviri. This is what is happening. We are not asking for permission. I'm not going to change. This is who I am. I'm straightforward. I tell it like it is. I'm polite, but I also swear a bit. That's just how it is. Varanda Zimbabwe. Mwita zora kanaka.